I never imagined I would be the kind of woman telling strangers on the internet the story of how my marriage collapsed. I always thought my life was ordinary, maybe even enviable in its stability. At 45 years old, I believed I had done everything right. I married my college sweetheart, we bought a home together, we raised 2 kids, we went through hardships and came out stronger. Or so I thought. To anyone looking in from the outside, my life would have looked like a success story. A long marriage, a nice home in a safe neighborhood, 2 children on the verge of adulthood, our daughter Emily already in college, our son Daniel finishing high school. A family that laughed together on holidays, posed for family pictures, took vacations once a year when we could afford it. And I truly believed I had a partner who respected me, who would grow old with me. His name is Mark. We met when I was 20, in a campus library of all places. He made me laugh when I was stressed about finals, and from that day forward, he just stuck around. He proposed 2 years after graduation, and I never had a moment of doubt when I said yes. And for decades, I trusted him with every fiber of my being. But betrayal, when it comes, doesn't knock on your door politely. It crashes through and leaves destruction where you once felt safe. And the cruelest part? The betrayal didn't come from some nameless stranger. It came from the person I trusted most outside of my family, my best friend. Her name is Laura. We met in college too. She was my roommate freshman year. We bonded over late-night snacks, heartbreaks, and cheap bottles of wine we weren't supposed to have in the dorm. Laura became the sister I never had. She was the maid of honor at my wedding. She was there when Emily was born, pacing nervously outside the hospital room. She was the first person I called when Daniel took his first steps. She was woven into the fabric of my life. And that's why the knife went in so deep when I discovered the truth. But before I get there, let me paint the picture of what life had become in the months leading up to it. Maybe some of you listening will recognize the signs I ignored. Mark had started coming home late more often. At first, he blamed work. The company is restructuring, he'd say. Or, I need to finish this project before the deadline. It wasn't unusual. Mark had always been hardworking, sometimes to the point of obsession. But I noticed the way he avoided eye contact when I asked too many questions. I noticed how his phone, once left on the kitchen counter without worry, suddenly became glued to him, even when he went to the bathroom. I told myself I was imagining things. After all, 20+ years of marriage builds habits. Couples grow comfortable, sometimes distant. I thought maybe we just needed a vacation, more date nights, something to spark the romance again. And then there was Laura. She started showing up at the house more frequently. At first, it was natural, she had always been welcome. But then I noticed little things. She laughed too loudly at Mark's jokes, even the bad ones. Her hand lingered a little too long on his arm when she said goodbye. I brushed it off. This was Laura, my best friend. She wouldn't cross that line. Or so I thought. The night I found out will forever be burned into my memory. It was a Thursday. Nothing special. I had just finished cleaning up after dinner. Mark said he was tired and went to shower. His phone buzzed on the counter. Normally, I never would have touched it. But something, call it instinct, call it intuition, made me pick it up. And what I saw shattered my world. The messages weren't subtle. They weren't something I could explain away. They were raw, explicit confessions of a relationship that had gone far beyond friendship. Laura, I can't stop thinking about last night. The way you touched me, it felt so right. Mark, I keep replaying it in my head. I wish we didn't have to sneak around. Laura, we have to be careful. She can't find out. Mark, I know. I'll tell her eventually, just not yet. I froze. My hands went cold. My knees nearly gave out. In that moment, my entire life felt like a lie. This wasn't just a fling. This wasn't a drunken mistake. This was planned, ongoing, repeated. My husband of 22 years and my best friend of more than 2 decades had been meeting in secret, lying to my face, betraying everything we had built together. When Mark came out of the shower, towel around his waist, he saw me holding his phone. His face drained of color instantly. For a moment, he didn't speak. And in that silence, I knew everything I needed to know. Finally, he whispered, "I am sorry. I didn't mean for it to go this far." Didn't mean for it to go this far? As if adultery just happens. As if months of hotel rooms and messages and lies were just an accident. I remember my voice sounding strangely calm when I told him, "Pack a bag. You're leaving tonight." He tried to argue. He begged me to sit down, to talk it through. He said it was a mistake, that it didn't mean he didn't love me. But love? Love doesn't betray. Love doesn't sneak around. Love doesn't destroy trust in the name of it just happened. I didn't scream. I didn't throw things. I just felt numb. Completely and utterly numb. Like the woman I had been only an hour before had died, and someone else had taken her place. Mark packed a bag slowly, watching me with pleading eyes the whole time. He kept saying, "Think about the kids. Think about our life." But all I could think about were those words on the screen, written to someone who wasn't me. When he walked out the door, it felt surreal. 22 years of marriage, gone in an instant. And Laura? Oh, she didn't stay quiet for long. She called me the next day, her voice dripping with false guilt. "It wasn't what you think," she said. "I didn't mean for this to happen. I love you, I didn't want to hurt you." She even had the nerve to say she didn't want to lose me as a friend. A friend? Friends don't stab each other in the back. Friends don't steal husbands. Friends don't destroy families. I hung up, blocked her number, deleted her from social media. Just like that, 2 of the most important people in my life were gone. But here's the truth I want to admit, even though it hurts. In those first few days, I started to wonder if I had acted too fast. My sister told me I should have waited, tried counseling, at least for the kids' sake. My mother said men make mistakes, and that I should be grateful he hadn't left me for her. But to me, betrayal is betrayal. Whether he left or not, he broke something that cannot be repaired. And yet, late at night, lying in a bed that suddenly felt much too big, doubt crept in. Did I overreact? Should I have given him a chance to explain? Was I selfish for kicking him out so quickly, knowing how it would affect our children? That's the question that haunted me then, and still haunts me now. The days and weeks after I told Mark to leave are a blur of emotions I can barely put into words. When people talk about heartbreak, they often describe it like a sharp pain, a stabbing wound. But for me, it was more like a heavy fog that refused to lift. Every corner of my home, every routine I used to find comfort in, suddenly felt foreign. The first morning after he left, I woke up and reached out instinctively to his side of the bed. Empty. Cold. It hit me all over again that my husband, the man I'd built a life with for more than 2 decades, wasn't there. Not because he was on a business trip, not because he had left early for work, but because I had told him to go. Because he had betrayed me. The silence in the house was unbearable. I had gotten so used to the sound of him moving around in the mornings, making coffee, clearing his throat as he read the news. Now, there was nothing. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the ticking of the clock. But silence doesn't last long when you have children. Emily, my daughter, came home from college the weekend after it all happened. She walked into the house and immediately knew something was wrong. I didn't want to tell her the truth right away, but she wasn't a little girl anymore. She sat me down and demanded answers. When I told her, her face turned pale. At first, she cried, then she got angry. How could he do this to you? To us? She said, her voice shaking. From that moment, she cut him off completely. She refused his calls, ignored his texts. She told me she didn't want anything to do with him. Daniel, my son, reacted differently. He's younger, still in high school. He loves his dad. I could see the conflict in his eyes. He didn't defend Mark, but he didn't want to lose him either. He told me, I am mad at him, but he's still my dad. And hearing that broke me in ways I didn't expect. Because no matter how angry I was, no matter how hurt, I couldn't deny that Mark was still their father. And I didn't want my children to feel like they had to choose sides. Meanwhile, Mark kept reaching out to me. Calls, messages, emails. He begged me to meet him for coffee, to talk. He said he made a mistake, that it was nothing more than a fling, that it didn't mean anything. He said he loved me, that he loved the kids, that he wanted to fix things. But how do you fix something that's been shattered into 1,000 pieces? How do you look at someone the same way when you've read words they wrote to your best friend about sneaking into hotel rooms together? I ignored most of his attempts, though sometimes I'd read his messages late at night, when the loneliness crept in. He said he ended things with Laura, that it was over, that he realized he didn't want to lose me. But I couldn't believe him. And Laura, she didn't give up right away either. She sent me long Facebook messages, pouring out fake apologies, telling me she didn't mean for it to happen, that she valued me, that she was confused. She even had the audacity to say she didn't want to lose me as a friend. Her words made me sick. How do you claim to love someone as a friend while sleeping with their husband? How do you expect forgiveness for something so deliberate, so cruel? I blocked her everywhere. Deleted her number. It was like cutting off a limb, because she had been part of my life for so long. But she had already cut herself out when she crossed that line. Then came the family drama. My sister told me I had overreacted. She said I should have at least tried marriage counseling before throwing away more than 20 years together. She told me I was being selfish, that I wasn't thinking about the kids. My mother was even harsher. She said men stray, that it doesn't mean they don't love their wives. She told me to forgive him, to keep the family together. I wanted to scream. Forgive him? Pretend it never happened? Sleep next to him, knowing he had betrayed me with someone I loved and trusted? How could anyone expect me to live like that? But their words got into my head. Late at night, when the house was dark and I was alone, I started doubting myself. Was I too harsh? Should I have given him a chance? Maybe people would respect me more if I had tried harder to save the marriage. The kids felt the tension too. Emily refused to see her father. Daniel wanted to, but he didn't want to upset me. I told him it was okay, that he didn't have to take sides. But deep down, I worried. Would this scar them forever? Would they grow up believing marriage was just a ticking time bomb of betrayal? One night, I found myself sitting at the kitchen table at 2 a.m., staring at old photo albums. There we were, me, Mark, the kids, even Laura in some of the pictures. Smiling. Happy. Or at least I thought we were. And I realized something that chilled me. The betrayal didn't just take away my husband. It took away my memories too. Every happy moment now felt tainted, poisoned. I looked at those smiles and wondered, were they already lying to me then? The fallout wasn't just emotional. It was practical too. Bills, schedules, responsibilities, all the things we used to share fell on my shoulders. Suddenly, I was the only adult in the house, the only one keeping things together. And while part of me felt strong, another part of me felt completely overwhelmed. Everywhere I went, I felt like people knew. At the grocery store, at church, even walking the dog. I imagined whispers. That's the woman whose husband cheated with her best friend. Whether they were real or not, the shame was crushing. And yet, through it all, one thing kept me going, the belief that I had chosen self-respect. That no matter how lonely, no matter how broken, I refused to stay with someone who treated me like I didn't matter. But I won't lie, doubt was always there, whispering in the dark, maybe you overreacted. Maybe you should have tried harder. Maybe you are the one who ruined the family. And that's the thought that haunted me, even as I tried to hold everything together. I never imagined that rebuilding a life after betrayal would feel like learning to walk again. Every step I take now feels shaky, uncertain, but also strangely freeing. The first nights alone in my bed were unbearable. I would roll over, expecting to feel him there, and the cold emptiness would remind me of what had happened. I cried until my pillow was soaked. But eventually, those tears started drying faster. I started picking up little things that used to make me happy. I joined a book club at the library, something I had always wanted to do but never had time for because I was too busy cooking, cleaning, and making sure my husband had everything he needed. I found myself laughing with strangers, talking about characters and stories, and for the first time in months, maybe years, I felt like I mattered as a person. Not just as someone's wife. My children, they were confused at first. They loved their father, but they saw the pain in my eyes. My daughter asked me one night, "Mom, are you sure you're okay without Dad?" That question hit me like a knife. I wanted to say yes immediately, to sound strong, but I paused. And in that pause, she saw the truth. I wasn't okay yet, but I was trying. And trying is sometimes all we can do. As for my so-called friend, she tried to reach out. She sent me a message, "I am sorry, I didn't mean for it to happen." I stared at that text for hours before deleting it. What apology can fix sleeping with your best friend's husband? What words can undo the image of betrayal burned into my memory? None. There were nights when doubt crept in. I would lie awake wondering if I had overreacted. Maybe I should have fought harder for my marriage. Maybe I should have forgiven him, for the sake of the kids. Maybe I was too harsh, too impulsive. Those thoughts haunted me, whispering that I had ruined everything. But then I'd remember the look in his eyes when I caught them. Not guilt, not sorrow, not even love, just shock, like he was upset at being found out. That look told me everything. If he had truly valued me, he wouldn't have betrayed me in the first place. I began to realize something. Leaving him wasn't about punishment. It was about choosing myself. For once, I decided my dignity mattered more than keeping up the image of a perfect marriage. Some family members didn't understand. My mother-in-law told me I should forgive, that men make mistakes. My own sister asked if I was sure I wanted to throw away so many years together. But I wasn't the one who threw it away. He did, the moment he chose her over me. Now, months later, my home is quieter, but also lighter. I no longer walk on eggshells. I don't second-guess if he's really working late. I don't hide my pain behind forced smiles. Instead, I wake up and look in the mirror, and slowly, I see a woman who is healing. Do I still love him? A part of me probably always will. You can't just erase decades of memories. But love without respect isn't enough. And if I had stayed, I would have lost myself completely. So here I am, telling you my story, asking myself over and over again, was I wrong? Was I too cold, too unforgiving, too quick to shut the door on a man I once called my everything? Or was I finally brave enough to stand up for myself after years of giving and giving until there was nothing left? And now, I want to ask you, what do you think? Am I the asshole for kicking my husband out after finding out about his affair with my best friend? Or was it the only way to save myself before I lost everything that made me me?